We're going to keep rolling with value. I just wish I went to the bathroom before I start to talk, but we'll be all right. So I learned from a mentor this year this statement I want to share with you. Most people in life are outwardly humble, introvertedly arrogant. Those that make it in life are outwardly arrogant, introvertedly humble. They'll tell you how great they are. Jordan, Tyson, the list goes on, McGregor, Bolt. So most people will tell you that they're humble, but then when you ask them, do they have a coach, do they have a book, when the last time they learned something new, they'll say, oh, I got 20 years of experience. So the question is, do they have 20 years of experience, or do they have 1 year of experience 20 times over? People in this room are here because you don't want to have 20 years of experience, or 100 years of experience, or 1 year of experience 100 years over. Successful people will tell you what they're going to do, and then they will go do it. They are outwardly arrogant, introvertedly humble. They're reading, they're learning, they're in rooms like this. So I want to give you a round of applause for being here. And I want to brag for someone that is humble, because whether you know it or not, I took time to meet Jeff prior to this, like really listen to him to understand, not to apply, and learn his story. And this is a guy that was in real estate, did extremely well. So you just got 45 minutes of someone that did very well, got into the tech boom and did extremely well in the tech boom, ended up building a company. Have you heard of EXP Realty? Or Exit Realty? Exit Realty, right? Exit Realty. Built that up, and now this is the point I want to make about Jeff. It's the visionaries that see the future for what it could be, and they make it what it should be. It's the people that see things around, right, the bend before they get there. They're not just going down the road. So you're looking at an individual with 30 years of experience that saw social media coming, right? So he's here giving actionable value, and we're going to keep going with this. Jeff's here giving actionable value through Family There's Funding. This is a guy that saw things coming years before they came. Now, why is Culture Matters here? Because we, without even really knowing it, because I'm not even 30, stood on the shoulders of giants like Jeff so we could see far and built Culture Matters through everything that we're going to talk about today. Through Facebook, through understanding that there's no such thing as social media, it's just the current state of attention. So I want to make that really clear is we're here to talk about specific tactics, and those tactics obviously work because you're looking at someone that had a vision 3 years ago, decided to leave his brick and mortar and pursue a new vision of what could be, right? To live in a world where every CEO knows why they're in business, how to clearly transcribe their values and what daily activities must be exercised so the original culture lives forever. That's Culture Matters vision statement. So I applaud Jeff because I want to brag for him. Okay, we all just got a ton of value. We're going to roll into a Q&A now where we can actively engage you guys and talk about what is, maybe whether you realize or not, what's holding you back in your business, social media, leadership, team building, communication, right? So I implore you, right? I want to be open, we're going to be open, and we're going to take questions. So now, whether we use it or not, I probably will. We got a little easel right there. If you can't see what we write, feel free to move up, don't be shy, just keep your clothes on. How did we meet?
Facebook. Okay, now, who met who? How did that work? Because that's why we're here, right?
I saw you on Facebook videos that had that name to I reached out.
How long were we friends?
2 years.
We were at a diner together, but we didn't know that.
Right.
Well, how long ago was that?
6 months ago.
So 6 months ago, I'm at a diner with Antoine Webb.
He had camouflage on, that's how I saw it in the video.
Look at that. Never met this guy. Now, one could argue whether that was good or bad. Good. I'm just kidding. Never met you, and then what happened?
We met and
We didn't meet at the diner, though.
that's correct.
I posted because one of the rules of Facebook that we talk about is to check in and be known and have attention. So I'm pretty sure I checked it. I'm fairly certain I tagged Antoine so people knew that we would be there. And
I
I'm
told my
fairly
daughter
certain
I saw you across the room.
he saw us. Now wait, this is a different conversation. He didn't come and say hi, so I don't know if it's sales. Maybe we should just sales training here. I'm just kidding. So after you reached out to me, then what happened?
You met up?
We just, and now we had never met in person though.
Correct.
So how did you feel about me? Like, where were you in a one, this guy, you know, one is like a stranger, you're not gonna go up to him. 10, somebody you know well. From a scale of 1 to 10, how did you feel?
10.
Who here is friends with myself on Facebook, or Antoine on Facebook, or Isaiah on Facebook, that maybe we met in passing, right? But we don't really know each other yet. And who knows us on Facebook? Raise your hand really, really high. Keep your hand up, because this is important for you guys, because based on how many people in the room, we can figure out what percentage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 out of 44. Oh, 14, over 25% of the room. That's really important to know, because it reaffirms everything we just learned for 45 minutes. That someone, Jeff, saw coming years ago, when I was still in my diapers.
It's kind of scary, man.
Dude, it's amazing.
I feel really old right
Now
now.
you're 7. No, I'm kidding.
I know.
So the point is, we're all here because all this stuff works. So I want to talk about, like, keep it open to everyone and get an engaging conversation. What could stop us? Like, oh, is it time? Is it our confidence? Is it, we're not sure what to say, right? Now, Joe, how many times do you post on Facebook a day?
I target 7.
7 times. Who here posts more than 3 times in a day? Brandon? What's your name? Kelly? Isaiah? So, what do they say about, that Pareto principle? Anyone ever heard of that? 80-20 rule? Less than 10% of this room posts more than 7 times a day. So we know they probably have some attention that we do not have. Sorry, all this other stuff. Joe, what compelled you or gave you because I think, you just turned about, 37?
He's 70.
I'll be 50 this year.
He uses, we should have like a skin cream program or something that we should sell. So what compelled you, right? Because has anyone ever heard, I'm too old for this, or thought that? You don't have to raise your hand, right? Thank you.
I'll be tagged to your fan.
Seriously, what compelled you? Because you're a real life person, right? Why would you be posting 7 times a day?
Get myself out there. I can only hit 15 real offices a day. I hit 5,000 people by 4:30 in the morning.
And how many friends do you have on Facebook?
5,000.
So, just get some action stuff. Can you see that? Try to write that. A couple months ago, I was asked to talk about culture in Los Angeles, and the night before they switched on me. They're like, hey, can you, because it's all about actionable stuff. Like, we're not just getting motivated here. We need to know exactly what to do. That's what we're here for. So, can you take that whole talk and make it towards, how did you do what you did with your personal Facebook? So it became called the Facebook 5. All right, and the second principle of the Facebook 5 is get 5,000 winners. Meaning, if you're friends with people on Facebook, be friends with people that you could solve a problem of. Don't be friends with a girl from Hooters unless you're going to marry her.
Been there, done that. I'm done.
I wasn't going to get by.
Twice.
So, who here has more than 3,500 friends on Facebook? All right, wait, keep your hands up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Out of 43. Right? What is that? 1%? No, 10%? Less than 10%. Less than 10%? Okay. Just to confirm the 80-20 rule. Is anyone unsure what that is? Do we know what the 80-20 rule is? Jay? What is it, Jay? Yo, you're a great speaker. We got you on Facebook. 100 years ago, Vilfredo Pareto was a scientist that had similar to Jet, saw things coming before they came kind of thing, and realized that 20% of the seedlings of plants in Italy produce 80% of the offspring. And he believed that there has to be some kind of pattern. Well, unfortunately, he died and he didn't really get the credit. But someone else did, and they realized that 20% of our efforts, right, get 80% of the results. Or so 20% of the room usually is going to be in that field, like they say that the top 1% has 50% of the wealth kind of thing. Right? So the question is, who do we have to be and how do we have to think to operate in that 20%? So I'm going to keep bringing it up so you can be aware, are you operating with 20% or are you not to? Because the first step in solving that is to be aware of it. For example, this guy, I did the math. Also too humble, this whole thing with the humble thing. No, I'm going to brag for you. Because most people are way too outwardly humble, right? 0.00006% in the country. So 0.00006% out of 2.5 million loan officers, 80 cents. When I went to see him in his office, 2 hours drove. I got 5 minutes. Why? Prospecting time, right? I want to know, just say that 0.00006%. If any of us had the kind of wealth of 0.006% like in the world, right? We'd be like Bill Gates. And that's where we're headed, right? So getting into, because you guys match because he's on Facebook like crazy, correct? Right. And why does that relationship work? Because some of you might be like, well, I don't have time. Who do I need to partner with, right? Because the reason you're together, he's killing Facebook. And what are you doing?
My job is to make the mechanism work for everybody that I touch.
My job is to make the mechanism work for everybody that I touch. He's going to do the social side. He's going to attract the people. I'm going to make it happen.
Your morning, because you guys, what time do you call? Don't you email each other early in the morning?
4:45.
There's usually a morning 4:45.
So the reason I want to bring this up is because, Jeff, you made a great point. A lot of people don't execute on knowledge. Okay. Well, let me ask yourself why. Well, it's hard to make a decision if you're not aware of maybe what you're not aware of. Meaning, maybe you don't believe you can do it because time. Well then, what if we look at a guy like Chris, who's 0.0006%? Let's outline on the spot, of course, like I always do, a little bit of your schedule, because I know it's airtight, isn't it? Absolutely. I mean, it must be because I couldn't even get a meeting with the guy, and I was on my knees begging. I'm just kidding. No. So the point is, what time do you wake up?
About 4:45.
Well, 4:45 in the morning.
I have 2 kids that do that too, but it's usually him.
Okay. And what time do you communicate with each other?
4:46.
We got another topic to talk about. All right. What happens right after
I had to convince my wife we weren't having an affair.
And no offense, So, what happens? You're like 4:45 and 6. That's what I'm like, right? Because before most people we're hitting the snooze button.
Literally, that's family time. So my kids wake up, and I have to spend time with my kids, my wife, and everything. So we're early risers. So everything that I need to do for them in the morning happens from that time.
Who here has kids? If you find mine, tell them to call. So, anyone ever heard of Grant Cardone? Yeah. 10X? Yeah. Just a shout out to Grant. If I never listened to that book in 2013, I would not be standing here at the 10X movie. Now I bring Grant up because you just reminded him. Grant Cardone had kids later in life. And in the one book, I think it might have been the 10X rule if you're not first, you're last, but he talked about making time for his children. He said, when I had the kids, because he had them way later in life, when he actually started making like buco bucks, he said the biggest mistake he ever had was aiming too low in life. So at 52, Grant Cardone decided to quintuple his income, or his net worth. It's just food for thought, right? So he's got like 3 kids, and he said he just woke up earlier and spent time with his kid. So, now, do you see the common denominator? 0.0006% in his industry, Grant Cardone, a freaking billionaire in real estate and sales training, etc. What do they have in common? High performance people figure it out. So this might be like, oh, okay, I got all these tactics. I'm not sure what to do. I don't know how to do it. High performance people figure it out. High performance people are in this room. Whether you make a decision today or you make a decision in a year, today would be a part of that decision in a year. Does that make sense? What happens after 6?
I head off to the office.
And what do you go, commute?
About 10 minutes.
Wow, okay.
Uber efficient.
All right.
Bad vacation,
This
good
is
efficiency.
exciting. And Jeff, get your notes ready because we're going to pick you apart. Yeah, you're the man. Dude, 6 kids, you kidding me?
No, 2.
No, him! Yeah, sorry. He's gonna... So wait, 10-minute
I'm
commute.
good.
So what time you get in the office?
6:10, 6:15, usually the latest, unless I have an appointment with someone else.
I feel like I'm in a book right now reading somebody, you know? Anyone ever heard of Ty Lopez?
Yeah.
Here in my garage. So I did invest in one of his courses and it was fantastic. What I learned, he said that the happiest people lived within 2 miles of where they were. Now listen, it's not the only factor. And just because you don't live too close, like we drive all over the place. But I just want to make a point with that. You live within 10 minutes.
2 miles.
So like, if
long
we were
roads.
to look at that in a week, you work Monday through Friday at the office?
Absolutely.
Who here has a commute that's longer than 30 minutes? What about around 20 minutes? Who here has a commute that's 10 minutes or less? You're all gonna be rich! It's the best time, that was perfect. I didn't even play that. We're gonna be rich! I'm excited. All right, so good. I keep going. I don't offend anybody. All right, good. So if your commute is 10 minutes or less, let's just do it, right? One time I did that talk and he's like, you quantify everything. Yeah, man, I'm sorry. I failed math in school, by the way, so. I don't want to put it here, so that's why I failed. So 50 minutes times 250 minutes, right? Right? It's about 4 hours. 4 hours and 5-10 minutes, whatever. So every week, how many weeks a year do you take a vacation?
I have to now that I have a family.
How long?
Most of them are Wednesday through Sundays. Monday, Tuesdays are very intense days for me, so I usually do Wednesday through Sunday.
Okay, got it. So you're in there. Let's just take the average work week, right? 5 days. And let's say, who here goes on vacation, I don't know, like 4 weeks a year, 2 weeks a year? Okay. Anyone work Saturday and Sunday always, or this is the better question. Monday through Friday. Everyone work Monday through Friday for the gist of it?
Yeah.
All right, so we use that, right? If you factor that out, it's like 40 weeks. So you're looking at 4 hours times 40 is 160. Right? Did I do that right? That's 160 more hours you have to do things to grow your business just by living that close. Now, who here is in real estate? Who here is in sales? Everybody should have their hand up. On average, an hour of prospecting, which we don't call that in Culture Matters, it's called listening practice. So an hour of listening practice in a sales environment, on average, because of the ROI of that time of talking to new people, is generally worth $500 an hour. Would you agree?
Possibly more.
Possibly more, depending on how quick you are, correct? Which happens over time. So just think about that. 160 times 500 equals 80K. 80,000 bucks. That's how we have to think when we're going to actually execute the things that Jeff was teaching us, which people don't know. And we didn't even get to 615 yet. So from 615 to 7, what's going on? Yoga?
No. Catching up on any emails I missed from the night before. It's funny how many you get from the hours of 9 o'clock till 12 o'clock that I see. So I catch up on my emails, catch up on any text messages, voicemails, anything that I need to get in touch with, put on my list to do for the next.
Prior planning prevents poor performance. Brian Tracy. 7 a.m. to 10. Like, what's your morning look like between 7?
So 7 a.m. I'm getting any contacts that I have to make contact with a text, phone call, email, just to really touch base with them and see what they need from me. Basically, the new prospects that I'm talking to. Then after that, I am catching up on current clients from.
Wait, that's 7 to what? I'm sorry.
About 8.
7 to 8. So 7 to 8 is outgoing.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I like to catch people before that they're ready, because then if they're calling me back, they want your attention, you give your attention back to them. Sometimes I do want them to not pick up the phone. I want them to call me back because that shows interest and I can close the deal.
And how many deals last year?
386 by me, my group did almost 800, and it translates to nearly 200 million.
Yo, you gotta pull out from people sometimes. You're so humble. Jeez. I'm gonna brag for you. Yeah, my God. All right. Now, 8 a.m. to what, 10? What's that look like?
So 8 to 9, I'm calling current clients, people that need to be touched and develop and know what's going on.
This is tighter than I thought. I just have to rewrite it all.
So you can
So
stop.
8 to 9, what?
8 to 9, I'm calling current clients. Anybody that's in prospects, anybody that is currently working, has a loan, or is looking to make the next move. So from 8 to 9, I'm doing that. Then I'm calling my partners, my affiliates, my realtors.
What, after 9?
From 9 to 10. So by 10, it's all prospecting.
Okay, wait, all right. Wow. That's intense. Who here is like, nah, I didn't want to do that. I'm just waking up, you know? Okay. 9 to 10 is the visit off.
Correct.
All right, so let's just look again before we move on. We make time for the things that are important. Would anyone agree with that? Because I'm gonna quote my friend Mike, who did 30 million his first year in real estate. I asked him, what gives you the confidence to make the calls? And he said, I'm not gonna look my son in the eye and tell him he's not going to college because I was afraid to talk to strangers. Mike's first listing was 3 million. With his beat up little Pinto, with a car full of groceries from the Price Club. I thought maybe it was a little. So, 4 to 6. Then for 10 minutes you drive to work. I'm curious. You do that 10 minutes. You like hum?
Listen to music stuff to get me pumped up.
I was going
It's
to ask
your
Martha
Neo.
Stewart.
It's like your Neo.
My Neo energy. So. Every morning. So he does that for 10 minutes. Then you get in the office, and from 6:15 to 7, you're going to capitalize on what happened yesterday.
Catch up.
Which you're waking up so dang early, you have that time. Then you're 7 to 8, you're hitting the, say that one more time, because I write like that.
That's going to hit all the new prospects of people from the night before, or anything that I missed the previous day that I'd have to get pushed forward.
And then 9 to 10, you visit it all.
9 to 10, I'm calling current clients, people that we're currently working on that may be getting under contract close, right at that stage that they need to be the next push.
What happens, you're a crazy day. What happens from 10 to 11?
So at 10 o'clock, I'll sit with my ops manager, the person in my office. So it doesn't take much time, it depends on the day, because as well as being an originator, I actually run the whole office. So I have people that do their jobs, which helps me do what I need to do, but I sit down with them to make sure that the day's plan, tackle any problems from current, past, present.
So regardless, if you have a team now, and a team is anyone that's helping you what? Grow. Whether you have a team now or you want a team in the future, this is when someone that's 0.0006% in their field works on that. He does that after you do what?
Prospect.
Because without the business coming in, you can't solve the problem. Right? And
Well, part of the reason that I don't mean to cut you off, but the reason why I do that is most people that we want to deal with are working at that time. So I try to catch them before they're working, before they're getting into their days, because from 10 till 2, they're doing what we need them to do to buy houses, to sell something, to do something. So I'm using their time to maximize my time.
what about 11 to noon? Like, you eat
I usually get pissed off and ask for food. Yeah.
by 11?
Somewhere between 11 and 2.
How good of a cook is Joe?
Pretty good. Makes good meatballs.
Relationship, they're called each other. I don't know. So 11 to 12, you're eating?
Possible.
Do you eat at your desk?
Most of the time.
Interesting. You know, I'm studying high performance people, meaning people that are living their dream, which is to be able to have, health, wealth, love, happiness. Think about the time that we could not get back. Leaving the office at 10:30, because we don't want to hit traffic, right? Because we got to go to lunch or whatever. Let's say you leave the office at 11:30 because you don't want to hit traffic, so you leave the office at 11:30. Now you're not able to solve problems, you're not going to make money. Then you go to lunch, and you go to lunch with people that don't give you business. You go to lunch with your friends, or whatever, or, right? Right. And then by the time you get back to the office, when you go to lunch like that, what time is it? Not you, but most, you know, right? Like,
I've been victim of that. It's happened. You know, you get distracted, and then a lot of your day is ruined, and the time that you're trying to spend with your family after work or the meetings that you have, they're getting pushed off, and which tends to make the next day, the next week, the next month off just because of those reasons. So I try to stay as very regimented as possible.
so, just so you guys understand, if someone went to lunch Monday through Friday from 11:30 to 1, it's 12 and a half hours a week. 50 hours, 600 hours a year. Times $500 is $300,000. We always just lost. It's crazy. $300,000. $300,000! You want to give to charity, you are a charity. With the timing, we're not so actionable steps, right? Jeff.
Yes.
What can someone do, seriously, on Facebook to make them money? Because you know better than anyone here. In 2.5 hours a day.
You don't need that much time.
How much time do you need?
20 minutes.
Okay, let's do this. 20 minutes and like highest and best use of things to do. What would they be? Like 1, 2, 3 things at the tops, right? Because we get confused all the time.
10 minutes to connect with them, like, comment, and talk to people.
Okay.
Then I would probably focus on running some productive advertising on Facebook, which is also Instagram. And then probably the last 10 minutes later in the day would be that follow-up, like, trust, see results.
Follow up, like. So basically,
It's just like communicating with any client. It's just another part of, instead of using the phone, you're just using the platform.
and just to be really clear, it's not just the phone. It's wherever the attention is.
So where the attention is, follow the eyeballs.
Did anyone get a message from me that's here from Facebook? Anybody? I know Rob did, right? Message from Facebook. Can you raise your hand really high? All right, wait. Just keep it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 out of 5. Well, 5. To come here, I mean. Everyone's raised their hand. You already know. Well, I'm talking about a personal. Let me clarify. This is really important because I want to talk about Messenger. Because Jeff, you can add on this with Facebook Messenger. How many people got a Facebook Messenger message from me? Raise your hand really high. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5. Just to finish this thought, I want you to add to it. I did not message you. The glue that holds the ship together, Antoinette, she won't say that to you. She messaged you the first time, okay? Okay? I talked to you right after the first message because my ship doesn't grow unless she grows, and she's helping me do the things that are extremely valuable, except they can be what? Replicated. So, about 200 people were messaged. We had a 38.6% response rate based on the message, which wasn't a script per se. It was, what's up? I have a bet. Right? So that we can have a conversation, because the point of the script was not to try to sell you, it's try to have a conversation with me. 38% response, 17 people said they'd come, and 5 did. But hey, what? Right? So it's all about increasing the amount. If we had 2.5 hours a day, we probably could have messaged way more people, right, Jeff? What are you going to add to that?
Yeah, that platform is probably going to be the preferred communication tool over text at some point, because the beauty of that is you don't need anybody's phone number for that. You don't need their email address for that. And you can get into really anybody's mobile device with simply Facebook Messenger. And to be perfectly, you want to look at the vision coming down the road, the next probably best advertising platform will be Facebook Messenger from an advertising standpoint in the very near future.
Why?
People's attention, and you're in their mobile device, and I always ask the question, how long could you not look at a notification? How long could you not look at a text or a message?
Because of the dopamine.
Because that dopamine effect, it's a dopamine effect. But truth is, I'm sorry,
I'm on it right now.
Look, think about Amazon for a second. When Amazon pushed out where you could obviously, purchase a product, click a few buttons, and it's there, and it used to be 24 to 48 hours, that's great. What did Amazon do that made it even simpler? One-click purchase. Like, I just push one button. I don't have to give you anything else. It just shows up. So the Amazon effect of having as little steps as possible, Facebook Messenger is one of those platforms where it's one button. If I wanted to get a hold of the CEO of Zillow, could I actually send him a message? Now, would he respond? I don't know. Could I send him a message right now without knowing anything?
Yep.
I could. I could get into his mobile device. Fortunately, thank God I know him. He might respond, but at the same time, think about the access that we have to people's devices or the remote control of their lives is through Facebook Messenger.
So to add on that, because that's brilliant, you said the phones, right? Think about the access. How many friends are you allowed to have on your personal Facebook? What? 5,000? Who here has 5,000 cell phone numbers? All right. Wait. This is great. Now, what do we talk about modeling success? Right? That guy, crazy guy back there, I'm going to call him out. Number one is county and real estate, right? He choked, yeah, he's shot. He has 5,000 people in his phone. 0.0006%. He has 5,000 people in his phone. Guess what? Everyone in this room can have how many friends on Facebook? The question is, do we? And if we don't, that's okay. That's why we're having a conversation. That's why we're here, right? So, 5,000 cell phones I got. How many? We always scrub it because this one, deleted or deactivated. We go through the deactivateds every single week, and hundreds and hundreds, because I want to be friends. I personally want to be friends with men like this, or women, men like this that are go-getters, all right? I can't grow, period, end of statement. So, Chris, and we'll leave it at this. What does the rest of your day look like?
It's just as regimented. As I told you, I have salespeople that are underneath me per se. I don't look at subordinates, I look at partners, affiliates, and I'm helping them grow them and put some of the implementations that I do in their daily lives. The most common thing that I see is people are just atrocious with their time. They are all great workers, they are all smart, they just are very bad with their time and time management.
So, you mentioned your team building, investing in your people.
Absolutely.
And you, based on your experience, which is relevant, obviously, you see that the time and what we're talking about is big.
Absolutely.
So you invest time in helping them figure that out.
100%. And if it's not me, it's coaches like yourself.
Who here has a team or is interested in growing a team? Okay. Yeah, there's some teams here. You heard it. The beginning of your day is focused on putting the mask on yourself, the airplane, right? What do they call that? The life-saving mask, it comes down. The beginning part of his day is, you notice, family in the beginning. Makes time for the family. Then he focuses on capturing the value of the day before. Then you focus on growing your business. Because if you don't focus on growing your business, why even train your team? Right. See how that order, they call that a syntax. Like, that's an order. It's and Chris, you are special. I'm gonna say it, he didn't say it, but it's not special, that's not special. Meaning every high performance person, people that get things done, it's a very, very similar syntax or order. They get up, they grow themselves, they grow their business, then they grow their team, correct?
Absolutely.
Jack, you have a lot of experience in this, right? In this field, working with companies on this level, working with teams, working on social media.
I'll agree with Chris 100% on the time. We kill way too much time, and to get morbid for a second, because it's maybe sometimes the way that you can think about it differently, is, God forbid, you know somebody maybe in your life that got diagnosed deathly ill. What do they think about time at that point? What happens with time? You want more of it when things change. However, we have tons of it right now that we just waste, and there's only so much time we all have to get what we want done. So there's people that are starving for more time right now, and yet we have so much time we waste and burn, and we just don't think about it. We don't manage it like Chris. Chris is way more regimented than I could ever be.
To what Jeff just said, Jeff, myself, Joe, we all drove more than 2 hours. Jeff lives probably 20 minutes from me, in a small radius, to be here with you guys because it's important. Jay's theories are important. The way that Culture Matters does is important. These things are important for future growth in business. We're here because of Tim Miller and the time and his group that's doing the things for my company, our group. Those things that you guys need to implement for yourselves as well as for your teams. I think that's the most important thing. And no matter what anybody says, if I wasn't a little bit selfish, my team would not have anything. I have to worry about me, which allows me to worry about you, which in turn allows me to worry about a lot more people. So I think time in anything we do is the most important thing.
Now, to get the most value out of this, we have to be a little courageous. I know I'm a bit intense, but it's out of love, obviously. Anyone here have a specific question or even a general question on time? Something they're going through? Anyone? Nicole? Oh, I thought oh, Rob. Oh, okay. Ron. Stop. Ron, give us 30 seconds, right? So, Ron.
What time do you guys go to sleep at night? So my family is early risers. I happen to be by training myself to do that. My wife and my kids will be in bed out by 8:30 the latest, and I'll be up till 11, 12, 1. Like, not me. I do not go to sleep at 8:30. I'm catching up on a lot of things. I have a show that I like everybody else does, to try to unwind. But most importantly, I'm talking to my people that need my help or my guidance in any way, because that's kind of the only dead time that I have. And when I use dead time is the time to be able to touch them in a different way, because all day long we're in the trenches, where we're grinding, where we're getting through problems. On our side of the finance, there's a lot of things, and Mio down. So on our side of the finance, we don't want our business affiliates and our realtors or anybody knowing any of the problems or issues. So during the day is when we're attacking all the things that we need to make everything smooth. At night is when I'm able to catch up and really try to position myself for the days to come.
There's one thing I learned recently by doing that interview I mentioned a while ago with that guy that studies, the psychology of this addiction thing with social media. Because of our instant now gratification, like because we have a post or something, or we send a text, we expect instant. The problem is we have some platforms out there, like email, that most of us don't think of it as an instant gratification, like, oh, I'll get back to it tomorrow. Unfortunately, what we're learning is today's consumer can say, oh yeah, get back to me tomorrow, that's fine. They don't hear from you that night or that, they start texting you, they start calling you, they start harassing you, like, hey, well, I didn't hear from you yet. They don't really want to wait until later. They're still expecting that gratification. So I'll answer those emails at night, so to prevent that drama from the morning, because that's what they're expecting, and they'll tell you.
To what he just said. So I work with a couple of really big groups. One of the groups that was introduced to me was obviously introduced by Jeff, and the things that Jeff implements, which has helped me help my business as well. So one of the realtors sent me a high worth clientele that was buying a couple properties, and they were pretty nice sized deals. And I literally responded to him in 30 seconds. 15 grammar errors. It was like the worst thing you ever seen in your life. And he was like, what are you doing? The guy called me back, right? Because I responded in 30 seconds. I apologize for the grammar errors because I'm not a writer. I'm a numbers guy. So literally got him the best deal that's out there, but I responded faster than anybody else. I don't encourage people to make mistakes in grammar, but it got a conversation with that guy simply because I responded that quick.
Question?
Yeah.
Our table is curious to know what time Jeff goes to bed.
Well, I do have a lot of children and family. It is not early, it is late. After we do that, we try and sit down actually when I'm not traveling. That's the hard part, is I travel a lot. So when I'm not traveling, we try and actually do sit down as a family, like the Brady Bunch kind of scenario. But you will catch me in bed mostly 10:30 to midnight, still on my phone, unfortunately, grinding away, whether it's social. To me, people think that's crazy. It's my personality, though. Like, maybe people need to just kind of go to bed and forget it. To me, if I can respond to it now and get it done, A, it puts them at ease, but B, it's 10 things less in the morning when I get up and start. That gets me going, so.
So what's your advice for the late nighters that go to bed at 1, 2 in the morning?
You know, I could probably throw my wife under the bus on this one. She's a late nighter. She can grind until 2 or 3 without blinking, but she likes her sleep in the mornings. It's a catch-22. I think the problem with that is, and it's not a problem of her, it's a business problem. Most people don't care if you're sleeping at 9. Like, they expect you to be up and going regardless. So it's a perception problem. So I think it's a problem with the industry, and you have to kind of get over it.
Just to compliment Jeff again, is in regards to that, I completely agree. I don't think any person should do what I do or don't do what I do. Maximizing your time is important. The problem with this is there's so much competition. Facebook, social, everything makes competition. If you're not up at 9 o'clock and somebody calls you, they're on to the next one. And that is the hardest part about it. It's the next best thing. I've formed some of my best relationships because somebody else pissed me off. So I didn't like what you did and I went to the next one. You do title, correct? I had a title relationship that was probably a very, very strong friendship. He messed up one deal that cost me a lot of relationships. I haven't sent him a deal in 8 years now. That's a lot of business considering the numbers. That's because of a communication barrier. People will move on. I will do the same thing. You will, and your next affiliate will do the same thing. You always have to be there.
Solid. So, 1,000,000%. Now, if you're thinking right now, because people do this, I've been a late night person for 10 years. Am I screwed now? Might as well walk out of the room, get in my car and jump, just drive to the sunset. Yes, so and I'm going to add from that. You have your team, and now, let's see how, right? One of the common denominators among people, for example, how long have you kept that regimen of things that you're doing the same thing, you're consistent with your time, that block?
As much as I can stick to it every day.
Okay, so it's a focus that you're consistent.
The weekends I'm around. Whatever my kids, my family want to do, it's around. It's what
Through tons and tons of personal research, not just myself, but many, many people, there are a lot of people that do stay up late. And they may get up a little later. Now, that being said, let's say, how many people do stay up late? Okay, all right, wait, half the room, wait. So you ready? This is a paradigm mind screw here. Statistician would say, yeah, that's half the world. Get it? Okay. The question is, are you consistent with the activities that gets you results? So just food for thought. Are you consistent with the activities that gets you results? So for example, you go to bed at 2 a.m. every day, and you need 8 hours. Who needs 8 hours sleep? Let's say you did 9 hours sleep. Let's give you 10. So you wake up at what, noon or something? I'm just saying, let's say you did. But at noon, you spend time with your kids, then you what? Worked on what was before, and then you built your business, and then you worked with your team in the afternoon, and then you just work late. Because half of the world is what? Up late. It's called the compound effect. It's called the slight edge. It's called math. 2 exponent, right? 2 squared is 4, which is 16 squared is 256. You gotta do it every day, whatever it is, man. So like, don't believe just because, oh dude, I don't get it before you. I'm never gonna be like Chris. You can do it. You didn't want to be like him, obviously, but you just gotta be consistent with the things that you learned today. Right, Jeff?
Yeah, and I actually have a question right on. Actually, I have a question for Chris sitting right next to me, because this is a problem I faced walking in your shoes, and you probably have the same question, is you're a big family man. Weekends, kids, same with myself, and maybe you as well. So you're with your family, your kids, you're doing something, and that client calls, or that, I need that pre-approval, I need that now, and you're with your daughter. Like, what would he do?
Perception. So Nobody will ever get a call passed, ignored. You'll be in contact right away. There's a couple different mechanisms that I put in place that help me, help my team, and you know what it is. So, for example, right now, she's going to go to my voicemail, which is going to pass to one of my assistants. My assistants will pick up the phone. She won't even know anything happened. So ideally, she's going to get her pre-approval. She's going to get any service that she needs at that time. I'll then get a text message, email from my team telling me exactly what just happened, how everything was corresponded to. So to Jeff's point about the weekend, if I'm with my kids and I can't answer the phone, I can't answer the phone. It kind of is. But I do make it a point, my family knows that when work calls, I answer.
If you're sitting here, because that's 100%, it's going to, you have a system in place that's going to a team.
It took time to build that. It's hard.
What I found coaching people with the same mindset, when they don't have the team yet, their voicemail says, hey, I appreciate your phone call. Once again, thank you. It says like thank you. Then it says, reason I didn't answer between this time and this time, I am adding value to my clients. I'm serving my clients. I'm sure you can appreciate that. I will answer your phone call between this time and this time, and then they stick to it.
I lost a client on a Friday night. I was at the dinner with my now wife, and the client called up, and I didn't answer the phone call, right? So then I called the client right after dinner, and the client said, I picked another mortgage company. I said, all right, well, no problem, because I'm always courteous. I always say, I wish you the best, and do what you need to do. 2 weeks later, they were having a rough time with the mortgage company. Guy came back to me, and I delivered a service. Well, ultimately it helped out, but for that 2 weeks, I literally could not stand myself for losing that client. So I put systems in place that day. I remember the day, I remember how it happened, and losing a client because I couldn't answer the phone was just unnecessary in my world. So I fixed it. Almost lost it, got it back, and now it's worked out in my favor.
We're here for actionable stuff. Write this down. If you don't have a team and you can't delegate something because you want to get to that level, you set your voicemail and you do 3 things. You thank them for calling, you set the expectation, and you don't answer it until you said you would, correct? And the people that think you're too much, those are going to be the clients. Does anyone ever have a client that annoys the heck out of them? Meaning they keep asking, and needing, and you just don't want to work with that kind of client? Anyone? That's how you never deal with them. Because that type of personality wouldn't respect your voicemail. Do you understand? My voicemail says, I appreciate your phone call. If you're calling, this is me, if you're calling between the hours of 4:45 in the morning and 1 in the morning, I'm not going to answer because I'm reading, writing, speaking, coaching, cultivating the company. Like, call me and you'll say, however, if it's super important, text me. Because I don't react to anybody. Does that make sense? Now, that obviously mirrors my personality. I'm intense with love. But the point is, I own my time. You call me. If I do answer, I made a decision to do it. It wasn't because I felt I needed you to. You understand? Does that make sense? That's how I got a team. All right? Culture Matters was a startup. I had to set this, thank them, set the expectation, and I didn't answer, and that's how I was able to build the business, right? Build the business so then I could have a team. So that changed my life. I just want to give that to everybody here.
Here's the challenge. If someone from Zillow or your sign call came in and you're with a client, what do you do with them? Because you know their attention span is very slim. They'll either continue to call somebody until they get somebody. So one of the loan officers we work with, he was having a lot of Zillow leads come in from inbound real estate agents. Can't answer them all. Secondly, if you can't answer them all, you're just wasting money. So he put in action, there's a company that a friend of mine started a while ago, Call Action. They put a separate phone number on the signs now so they know where the sign call's coming in from. It has automated text response. He said he's getting a 60 to 70% response rate of people actually talking to the automated text to get the conversation started.
Yeah, I want to be
because that's
really
what the response
clear.
they want.
This specific that we just said, it's about understanding where you're at. Obviously, when you're speaking to an audience, everyone's different. So, my goal as a human is to help people be more proactive in their life. Does that make sense?
Jay, I have a question for
yeah,
you.
Go ahead.
So you said earlier that you failed math, correct?
Oh yeah, I didn't go to the school, you gotta go to one.
But what are you doing right now? You're quantifying everything. I think that's the most important thing in business. That's the most important thing that we do is the time-money relationship and what we need to figure out. I'd rather pay somebody an hourly wage to make sure that those calls are not missed and they're delegated the right way than miss the opportunity of thousands of dollars in commissions.
1,000,000%, and just know where you are, basically, right? Because the goal is, well, if you're investing in advertising, because this is like, because that's, we might be there, right? You're investing in advertising, leads are gonna come in. Set up the systems that are gonna increase the probability of you capturing them without you being the person that's always reacting to life. Does that make sense? Because when we're reacting to life, we can't proactively build our life. So just, what Jeff just said about that tool, everyone here, you know, we should have it.
It starts the conversation to give them that instant response. Of course, we have to take over the conversation. But if you don't get that response, you know damn well you don't have a shot at getting it. So you got to have something that when you're working with people, either a team, a system, or something to respond to the consumers when they want it.
What's the biggest benefit to your business of following some of these principles that we've been talking about? Because they're basically principles.
It goes back to, I guess, consistency. Very rarely will you ever hear me or see me down in regards to it. Like people saying I have off months or slow months and everything. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in anything other than working hard for an objective, a goal, getting to that goal, getting to that objective. So I think I answered your question, but I don't know.
What's the slow month in your business? What's the slow
February.
month? February?
Yeah.
All right, so how do you approach February?
I work my ass off in November and December.
Wait, it's February, kind of. So you do things like this.
Yeah.
Where did that thought come from? Because I hear all the time people, this is the slow month. This is what I'm supposed to be.
My story's crazy. So I actually played professional baseball, and I got released and was broker than most people could be broke, right? It was really bad. And a buddy of mine got into this business, and I watched this kid make tons and tons of money. The next month, he was back in the poorhouse, had no money. So when I decided to make this my career path years ago, I made it my point to never experience those ebbs and flows. I started with, X, a quantified number. I want to make X for this month. Then I said I don't want to miss a paycheck. Then I don't want to miss 2 paychecks. Then I want to double it. So I quantified everything. So I can't say that there's an exact science that in my world, but I believe that every single person is a lead. I believe that every single person has leads for us. I think every single person can help us with our business if we treat it the right way.
Wait, what did you do after you quantified it? Like, what did you do next?
Well, how do I get to that number? So if you put a number on it where a typical real estate trend, what's the average sales price here? 150,000.
Yeah.
So if you put a number on what you want to make that month, right? How many transactions is that? Well, if you go back to your math, you need 30 leads to get 10 potential clients to close 3 transactions, if that's your number. So you're quantifying who you have to do. Well, how are you going to touch those 30 people? I'm in North Jersey. I do business all over, but my North Jersey attitude was to concentrate on attorneys, or title companies, people that don't do it the same model. I don't concentrate on realtors. I forge relationships afterwards because the attorneys, the title company knows who sucks. They know who's not doing their jobs. So it's a very easy way for me to figure out other leads in a different dynamic than what other people are doing.
So, I got it. I reverse engineered you. We can build you now. You believed. You did the math. You saw everyone as someone who could solve their problem. You asked yourself, who do I want to work with? Not realtors. Title, well, you do obviously want to work with them, but you focused on title, right?
Who's been in the business 10 years? Anybody? All right. So 10 years ago, if a mortgage person walked into a real estate office, the only thing they cared about was an envelope. That is the only thing that anybody cared about. So I had to think in other ways of generating business, creating value. What was I better than? I can talk to people one-on-one. This environment is not my shtick. It's not my forte. I'll do it because it makes sense and it adds value. But I had to figure out how I was going to be more valuable than the other mortgage people that came in. So I learned product, and then I figured out the value mechanism between me and them.
Step one, he believed. Step two, he did the math of what he wanted to earn and what it would take. Then he looked, his mindset was everyone I could do business with, the guy at the gas station, right? Because when you're not talking at them.
We're doing one right now.
There you go. Then step four, who is your consumer? Who is your contact, right? And then you did the math again, you figured out how many people you have to talk to a day that is that contact, correct? Correct. Have a good day. That's it. That's what it takes, right? Now in the soul of Facebook, because we're here at Facebook, right, Instagram, right, Jeff, all of those different platforms are just where different customers' attention is, correct?
Yeah, it's follow the eyeballs. So
Follow the eyeballs.
30 years ago it was newspapers, and then it moved to digital magazines, then digital magazines, then print, then Yahoo and AOL when you got this disc in the mail, and then it just followed the eyeballs. Now it's really, look, your consumer could be, for different generations, it could be Snapchat. It could be, it's just where are they going to be to get their attention. So my customers, real estate agents, title, mortgage clients, are all still on Facebook and Instagram. Those are my two. Am I on Twitter? Sure. Do I know how to snap? Sure. I'm aware of it. My clients aren't there yet, at least in mass. Will they be somewhere in 5 years? Yes. They're going to be somewhere else. So we look at social media as like this other thing. It's today's current marketing. That's all it is. We get caught up in how I got to do something else. No, you just have to learn how to market like you always did. In 1988, we marketed with a Polaroid camera. We took a picture, we pinned it to a board, and it went in an MLS book. That was our marketing. The eyeballs are somewhere else. So just follow the eyeballs. Learn where they are, then talk to them. I don't get it. How and why and what do I post?
Wait, you got a question from this text? All right, what is it?
Instagram and Snapchat, comma. I don't get it, question mark. How and why and what do I post?
Jeff? I want to go after you.
The question lies in your answers. Where's your customer? If your customer's on Instagram, go there. What do you post? The reason Instagram is successful, it's a very visual platform. So you need to learn a couple things. You need to learn, good visual content, not just like here's a picture of my house, stuff that people are interested in. Then you need to learn how to use proper hashtags, because that's how people search. If you want to grow your audience, so for example, I might be in real estate, but if I start a podcast tomorrow and I decide to get an audience there, I need to start using the hashtags for that podcasting audience. And next thing you know, I got people that are in the podcasting business following me because I'm sharing those hashtags. So think of hashtags like Google search. People search for those words. That's what you're hashtagging, and there's a strategy behind it, but that's Instagram. It's visual content based on people searching and very simple one-touch likes and loves.
Jeff, I learned this from you, correct me if I'm wrong. The average buyer age is 37 in the country?
In the country, yeah.
What about the seller? I don't remember.
42.
Okay, so the average buyer in the country is 37, 42. Right now, from what I understand, because this is what we did with CM, over 1 billion people are completely enamored, right, consuming content on Facebook, 30 and up, and it ages people down.
Yeah.
If I go to Rumor right now, so you don't know, it's a nightclub, and I talk to a 25-year-old woman,
Snapchat.
they're like, Facebook?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
It's Instagram and Snapchat.
That's it.
So if you're in the real estate business and you want to meet buyers and sellers, yes, we understand. Facebook is where their attention definitely is. But now, how did Jeff get up here adding value? He saw things for what they were going to be. Right?
Yeah, and
so
it-
those
and Instagram's-
25-year-olds, they're going to get older.
Yeah, yep. And then they'll migrate to that if Snapchat evolves, great. If not, there'll be another one behind it. That's why Instagram came out with stories to compete with Snapchat, very similar in market share. So it's evolving to even shorter, faster content, which sounds crazier, but that's our attention span. So just
The
follow
takeaway,
the ball.
based on what Jeff, I learned watching his YouTube keynote, Facebook is right now, which is what we did, right? Which it was a coincidence because, listen, Culture Matters is a company that's focused on helping people build teams and leadership and communication. I just had a feeling that if I got on Facebook like crazy, which we did 800 YouTube videos in 12 months and one video every day for a year straight on Facebook and 5,000 friends and yada, 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 I knew that I would have a lot of attention, right? I knew that. So we have that attention, but we're planning what? We gotta get, recently I'm like, I gotta really get on Instagram because what? We always have to be ahead of the curve in business. So just understand that if the average buyer in the country and the average seller is between 37 and 47 and they're on Facebook, period. If they're not, we have issues. Like with that. Well, we do. It's like a person saying, no. I'm not gonna drive a car to work today, I'm gonna keep driving my horse. Seriously. And so if someone's like, I'm not on Facebook, I'm not your friend. So,
Jay, perception, and it goes back to everything that you're talking about. There's people in our business that probably have half the skill set that we do, but the perception is they're doing more business. The perception is that they know more, and it's all by what we're seeing, not actually talking to, listening, and figuring out the plans. It's what you're seeing. There's people on my side of the business that I see daily, the closing machine, or this, that, and the other thing, whatever they're doing. They're doing one transaction a month. It looks like they're doing a lot because they're publishing the same thing, repetition, whatever it may be. It's about who's going to listen to you and how and what they perceive you doing.
So, I think we made a really clear case on where to put our attention, what kind of time blocks and operations and how we have to think to be successful. I don't want anyone to leave here without knowing, like, well, how? Like, what do I post? What are some of the things I can do, right? Like, because it's one thing to believe in something and not know how to do it. So I'm just going to share with you some of the things I've done, and I'm sure Jeff can go into that. I want people to know where I am. So check in, and I'm going to explain all these in a second. We'll go into it. Video. So where I am, who I am. I want people to know who I am. If you look me up on YouTube right now, go to my Facebook, type in Jay Doran, you're going to see the exact same person in this room. Like how I act in the video. Okay, that is my authentic self. Period. One of the biggest things that's helped me grow as a human and be confident is getting in front of the camera, because if you look at the first 20 videos, 30 videos I did, it was another person. Has anyone seen the beginning videos that I've done? Raise your hand. Anyone want to say how bad it was? I'm okay with that. I think Winsome does. Was it bad? Awkward.
It was.
Was I different than now?
Yes, definitely.
I want to make that really clear. One of the most fulfilling things in my life is getting in front of the camera. And I didn't make that up. I learned from someone smarter than me, Gary Vaynerchuk. Because if you look at his first video, right, Jeff, you just spoke with him. His first video on YouTube, he's really shy. He's really awkward. He's 30 years old. And if you look at him today, he's 43 and he looks like he acts and sounds and feels like he's 18. I saw that and I said, I want to be confident like that. And I also said, I want my grandkids to be able to look on YouTube when I'm gone and be like, yo, that guy was wild. So I'm going to have thousands of videos on there. All right, we already have, this year we'll have 2,000. This year we'll have 2,000. My grandkids will know who I am. So they know, who are we? That's the power of video. Check in, right? Where are we? Jeff, what are we posting? Value, right?
Whatever your customers want to see, not what you want to post.
So, example, a lot of realtors just post their listings.
Right. Show me something either unique about it. Does it have a unique part of the house, the yard? Is there a cool pool in the back? If you're going to post, just don't post a listing, post something unique about the house.
Something unique about the house may be of value to someone else. Am I right? Know what your customer wants and give value. I post a lot. We all, and see it, like anyone that works with us posts a lot on Facebook. We do it authentically. Because if we don't vibe, like this really turned you off, I still love you and appreciate you. We just ain't ready to date yet. So I'm going to post so much, right? They either hate me or love me. Right? The third principle I just made. You post so much, if they hate you, they'll unfriend you. If they love you, they want to marry you. But value, who, check in, what's another tip of actually what to post?
We struggle with the human side of us, like what you're doing on weekends. Like you'll get more he'll get more engagement, Chris, with him and his kid just hanging out and doing stuff versus a picture of maybe him sitting here at the event. We want to know what people do in your off time, in your unreal estate time. And we get all stuck on that. Why don't I want people to see? There was a question the other day at a conference. She's like, well, you know, my mom posts these pictures like when I was 17 and awkward. And I looked at her and I said, you know what? When I was 17, do you think I was awkward? I had a perm at 17. Like I had like curly hair. And I said, you know what? That made me laugh and it made me just think you're more human than anybody else. Like you gotta have a fun side to you. People wanna know what the heck you're all about because we like and trust people based on getting to know you. And I can't get to know you unless you share more than your freaking listings. So we have to kind of get over that. I mean, if it's inappropriate, just don't do it. But I mean, the human side can be very appropriate. So we gotta go there.
How often people know it's all about that if they do the FICO score. So be yourself, show your life, and go with your gut. If your gut tells you this is salesy, like if I was watching this, I'd be turned off. If your gut tells you that, don't post it. If your gut says, I would be turned off seeing all these posts, don't post it. But think about it. If you're in front of people consistently, persistently, of value in front of the people you want to do business with, don't they want to see that? Don't they want the value? They're going to go to somebody else. So there really is, right? Jeff, we don't know how often. We just don't want to not exist. Consistent, persistent value. Any questions on that? Of what to post? Check in, be authentic, post based on what? Value? Now wait, one thing. Video is pretty intimidating in the beginning, isn't it?
Yep.
How do you overcome that fear? Because you're a powerful speaker.
Video, you know, we have to realize that YouTube is not going away. Instagram, Facebook video stuff the live is very important. Think about Facebook Live for a second. For those who've even tried it or have not tried it, think about power for a second. If I'm a local Channel 2 news station here in this market, and I'm sitting in California, can I see that local Channel 2 news station? No. If I'm on Facebook Live sitting here right now for free at no cost to me, can you see me in California?
Yeah.
Could you see me in Canada? Could you see me in Europe? Could you see me anywhere if I simply hold up my phone and go live? So we have the power of live in the pocketbooks and the pockets of our devices, and we can have any audience anywhere. The problem is you gotta have something interesting to say, and you can build an audience anywhere in the country, or anywhere in the world, I should say, and it's already for free. That's powerful. You couldn't do this, you can't do this on television. You can't have that kind of power. On television, it costs you millions.
Now, you're blowing my mind, because I'm thinking there's about 50 people here, let's say, or more, right?
Yeah.
If everyone, who here has at least 500 friends on Facebook?
Yeah.
A lot of people. If everyone went live right now. Now, would you say the things that we're sharing, if you executed them, you'd be more, like they could help? Some of the things? Meaning, if you think it's valuable, just like how some people stay up really late, someone else might. So when you're coming from the right place, thank you, we went live, there you go. If we all went live right now, however the average of friends, we're in front of all those people.
I'll give you 2 tips or 2 or 3 tips on live, just for those who are playing around with it and I watched the mistakes. So if you're gonna go live, and if you're watching, for example, Joe doing his live, see he's holding the phone vertically, and over here too, right? So here's what happens. People start a live session, hold it vertically, and then they know, don't turn it. No. And then they turn it, and the next thing you know, the video is sideways. They haven't fixed that yet to where then you're looking at people literally sideways. If you want to go horizontal for a wider screen, start there. You start and go there. Don't turn it. You'll have a sideways video.
So I wish I knew that months ago, because I did it.
I did it too.
We've done so many like
people
that.
still do. Experts still do because they just don't
start
think.
what?
The other thing is, don't get into, and I used to get really intimidated, when there was, like if there were 2 people literally live, I'd be on for 10 minutes, and there's like 2, 3, 5, 10 people, I'm like, that kind of sucked, like there's only 10 people. Live lives forever. So I don't care if there was 10 people. Remember, if someone's live right now, you may not have the time in your car driving to tune in right now. Don't worry about it, because live is live and done, and then could be shared and lives on my page really forever. That could be downloaded, shared, pushed.
Could you do an ad too?
You could push and boost as an ad. There's tons of things you can do with it. So I used to get all like quirky about like, hey, there wasn't a lot of people, that kind of sucked. Don't sweat it, because the value sometimes will even come after live is done. Just, it seems authentic that you're live. You're on the street, you're there, and it's in real time. There's a question, it seems like back there.
How do you download live?
How do you download live? You have to go into the desktop platform and in the Facebook videos. There's Facebook videos of your live. You can download it from the dashboard in Facebook videos.
So you can download it into, say, like a YouTube or?
Yes, so you can download it and push it up to YouTube as a raw video. You can save it for marketing purposes, whatever it is, yeah. So those are just my tips, I'm sorry, just live. So start vertical, go vertical.
Start horizontal.
Start horizontal, go horizontal.
Live is forever, right?
Live is forever.
Share it.
Yeah, don't sweat. If you, here's the other thing. We're real estate agents. We try to be perfectionists. There's nothing ever perfect. Like if I'm literally shooting live from the park, or I'm at my house, and my kid gets home from school and I didn't know he was coming home, and he just runs, hey dad, like don't care. Just keep going. Because they think that you'll get more engagement and response by the simple things that just happen naturally in your environment because they know you're real, versus a scripted commercial life video. If there are professional companies right now that are trying to dumb down their videos to make it look more organic, because no one wants to see a commercial. When you see a commercial, you're selling me something. I don't want to be sold. So when it looks more real, more authentic, it's more believable.
Did we zoom in on the I spilled my drink? Just kidding. I want to bring this to Antoine. How many months ago did you start filming? Here. Antoine Webb, President of Culture Matters.
How we doing, everyone? Awesome. We'll have some fun here.
Yeah. He is the epitome of someone that did exactly what I did. That's why he's standing right now.
Yes, and this is why, because the proof in the pudding, it works, guys. How long ago did we start this? 8 months ago we started getting really deep into videos. Like, okay, listen, we need to get our face out there. We need to make sure that people know who we are, because, hey, I'd rather walk into a room where it's in my area, it's in my community, it's in my county, it's a networking meeting. I'd rather walk into the room and someone say, hey man, I saw you from Facebook. Dude, you look familiar. Do I know you?
Wait, has that happened?
Many times.
Okay, wait, pause there. This is your first time ever speaking in front of an audience.
Oh yeah, 1000%.
If you didn't do, period, he's never done this before, I just totally did that. I love it. Now, wait, you did how many videos in the last 8 months preparing yourself for just
220. There's
if
200.
you didn't do those, do you think you'd be able to do this now?
No, there's no chance. From the point that I decided that, okay, I'm gonna get in front of the camera, I have a purpose and a passion that needs to be spoken about and that needs to be delivered to the masses. Since I formed that agreement with myself, I've changed as a person. You know, I wasn't always so, what's the word? Introverted, right? Like you were with yourself.
You were more introverted.
I was more introverted, right? So like, in my mind, I always had a lot of things going on, a lot of things that I had opinions on, a lot of things that I wanted to say, a lot of viewpoints. However, it was really difficult for me to get that out to people.
Can anybody relate to that?
Right?
Seriously.
There's a lot of things in your markets that you know, right? Inside the market, you're like, oh man, this is hot right now. Like someone's got to know this. But then you're like, well, who do I tell? And you kind of get stuck there. But you have this great information inside yourself.
What ended up happening after you start posting, putting out value? What ended up happening in your community with people reaching out and all that?
So what it did was it cultivated a following that I didn't have before. Now, when I go out in my community now and I go to different events and I go to different places where I'm looking to network with people who are like-minded and people who are in similar industries, you know, it literally catches like wildfire and people are like, hey man, dude, I see what you're doing on your videos. I need you to do that with me. I do X, Y, and Z for this company, bro. We need that. I'm like, hey, you know, thanks for noticing. It would definitely help you for sure. And that opens the doors for other things and other possibilities and other things to happen. So getting yourself and putting yourself out there authentically, because, hey, like, people want to know who you are, right? So people don't necessarily buy.
You filmed with Joe.
I filmed with Joe.
Yes. He filmed with me on his birthday. On his birthday, we had breakfast at Nutley Diner for like 5 hours. We went back to his office with a whiteboard, I would say half the size of his room. And
4:45 a.m.?
it was like 11 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday. But on his birthday, he made me video and video and video, and he's doing this. It's off. Fudge, it's off. Fudge is fudge.
Yeah, give him a round of applause. This guy swears like a
Fudge.
sailor. Woo!
But on his birthday, he did this on his birthday. I'm like, dude, it's 8 o'clock at night. Go out and have a cake.
I don't want any cake, Joe. I want to film with you.
And now, we probably need security to tell him to sit down. So thank you very much, everyone. Round of applause. Never spoken in public in this kind of setting, you know, on the spot. All right, Chris, you ready? Just kidding. We didn't do video yet. How much more time we got? Because I'll be here till I'm in the parking lot. All right, I'm gonna wrap it up. Was this a value to everyone that came? Right. I don't believe in motivational speaking. I believe in inspirational teaching. Right? You can tell when someone doesn't believe in what they're talking about. He believes in what he's talking about. He believes in what he's talking about. He believes, I believe, he believes. I hope everyone got value today and actionably took notes and things they could execute on. And I'm gonna hand the mic back over to Joe so they can wrap it up. And I appreciate your time.